Hi everyone, welcome back to Drama on your online learning journey, and we are on week 3 now. So, to make a start, I'd like you to have a look through the quiz answers from last week. And again, apologies that there were some technical glitches with this, but these are the correct answers. Please have a look through to remind yourself of our learning. So, pop me on pause, have a look through the answers before you move on. Okay, before we do anything else, it's really important that you complete the flashback task from last week. Okay, so just a reminder then, the basic plot line was that the damsel is walking through the woods, collecting berries to go in the cakes they are making for their mother, the queen. The villain follows the damsel, lurking in the shadows with intent to kidnap them. As the damsel is about to head back to the castle, the villain swoops in and carries them away to their lair, deep in the woods. However, what the villain doesn't realise is that the hero has been hiding near the lair and foils the villain's plan at the last minute. Remember that your task was to choose one of the characters and answer each of the questions to create their background and give more content to the basic plotline. So spend some time now completing that section, please, as you will need it for the next lesson. Okay, so moving on then, now that you've completed everything from last week, we're looking at identifying and implementing elements of different performance styles and genres. And when we think about our Unifrog link, today we're going to link to a screenwriter. So think about creativity and imagination, storytelling skills and understanding use of dramatic structure. Think about preparing short summaries of your ideas and coming up with themes and ideas. In regards to your levels then, in order to get the highest level possible, you need to make sure that you are able to explain the style and genre confidently to others with justification of its use and analysis of its impact on the audience. So remember, we're thinking about what it makes the audience think, feel and understand about the characters and their situation. Next, we're on to our social, moral, spiritual and cultural question for the lesson. Now, some of you may have done a discussion with your teacher at the beginning of the lesson with this, so you can use inspiration from those ideas. So today we'll be developing our creativity in creating performance work. Why is creativity important to employers? So think about a job or career that interests you and how creativity influences the work of that job. You will need to answer this as part of your work. Next then, this is just a reminder, okay? So please do read through it or listen as I talk through it, as it will help you with the next task. So the plot and structure of a melodrama. Melodramas always have simple moral plots, where the story would show a struggle between good and evil and would conclude with the re-establishment of a morally correct and just society. Each play relied on extreme opposites to captivate its audience's attention and ignite reactions, such as justice versus revenge, honesty versus dishonesty, or innocence versus corruption. There are 3 main elements to a structure of a melodramatic plot, which you will need to include as part of the next task. So a traditional melodrama plot would include the following 3 elements. Provocation, which is the initial cause for setting action into motion. So this could be jealousy or greed that forces an evil character to plan an offence. The next section would be pangs, so the significant suffering of the good and innocent characters who are caught up in their evil plot. And the penalty, which is in the last minute twist of fate, the wicked character has their plans spoiled and receives a punishment for his or her evil actions. So remember, as part of the next task, you will need these 3 elements to identify a very clear melodramatic plot. So you'll see as part of your assignment there is a worksheet, which is a storyboard. So use this to plan out a flashback based on the questions you answered about one of the characters from last week. So first starting with the plot and structure. So whichever character you chose and answered questions to, you're now creating a flashback that will link to the wider context of the basic plotline. Task 1 for this then, start with the plot points. So You'll see on the boxes to the right that I've identified the provocation, the pangs and the penalty. So first, in your flashback idea, what is the cause for the action that will happen? Next, the pangs. So how do the good and innocent people suffer in your flashback? And finally, the penalty. How is the evil plan ruined and what is the consequence? Think of this as a summary of your plot line. Next bit then, so we're looking to the left at the top. We're going to move on to our characters. So who do you need? What are their names and what kind of personalities do they have? And then finally, to complete the storyboard boxes. So give each scene a name. Draw an image that best represents the main action of the scene. Now, obviously, if you're on paper, you can simply draw this out. If it's digital and you have the technological capability to draw, that would be great. But if it's the case where you need to use screenshots or images from the internet that best represent what you want to go off, you might have to copy and paste those in. So this is where it takes a little bit more time. After that, you need to describe your scene underneath. Okay, so for the level 1s and 2s, you need to make sure that you have explained what's happening in the scene. To get that level 3, you need to justify your decision. So you need to say why this action is taking place. And then finally, to get that level 4, you need to make sure you put a comment about the impact on the audience. So from this bit of the scene, what do you want them to think about the characters and situation, or feel about them, or understand? Okay, you can put me on pause and complete that task now. And then finally, as part of this lesson, you're going to complete a PIN assessment. So either on a separate Word document on here or on paper, start with a positive comment. I've even put a sentence starter in there for you. So during this lesson and the tasks I've completed, I think the most impressive thing about my work is. So you need to finish that sentence off. Then an improvement comment. So however, I think I need to work on. And then next steps. In the future, I am going to. And finally, a level. So you might need to go back to earlier on in the PowerPoint and look at the levels there. So the level I would give myself for this work is. Once you've completed all of that, and if there's still time in the lesson, you can then use that PIN assessment to improve your work. If you've finished all of that, please make sure you speak to your teacher as there are some extension higher ability challenge questions for you to consider. Thanks, guys.